freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo as long as we are led by politicians who will not put America first. Then we can be assured that other nations will not treat America with respect, the respect that we deserve.
You're listening to the voice of the future, fighting for America every day. This is the Conservative Crusader. And here's your host, GOP Josh.
Hello and welcome. This is the Conservative Crusader here on the Red Future Radio Network. Glad to be with you all today, as always, from the Red Future Radio Studios here in Central Ohio, the beautiful, beautiful state of Ohio, my favorite home state, my only home state, my favorite state in the Union is the beautiful state of Ohio. Call into our program. Use the voicemail line if you're listening to the recording on the podcast. 57GOP-Josh-7. That is 574-675-6747. Brought to you by our Patreon page, patreon.com/GOPJosh, patreon.com/GOPJOSH. So if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen I've had a big news week on Twitter between my endorsement of Donald Trump on Saturday, my package from the president on Tuesday. So let's talk about the package here. I received in the mail, thanks to a couple contacts I'll shout out here in just a minute, this beautiful picture of myself, which sounds kind of cocky, but it's with all my Trump merchandise. You know, the Trumpy bear, the flags, the hats, the Biden owes me gas money t-shirt, the vote signs, the Keep America Working signs, the 17 hats, 17 Trump hats. Now, they didn't send me another hat for the collection, which is kind of disappointing, you know, but I'm not going to complain. Beggars can't be choosers. But I did get some pretty cool stuff, including this actually signed portrait of myself with the tweet with all the tags in it and everything. It says great, and then it was signed by the president himself, Donald J. Trump. I have that in my hands. It's so cool. It is probably the coolest thing I own. And people are critiquing me for this. They're saying, well, Josh, you know, you shouldn't like Trump, right? I stand by Trump, and I will gladly cast my first ballot for Trump in 2024. The first bubble I fill in on my first ballot will be for Donald J. Trump, and I'm proud to say that. But here it says great, and it's signed by him. People are saying, well, you know, he's a former president. You shouldn't praise him. He's a former president. He lost the election. First off, he didn't lose. Second off, he is a personal hero of mine. He's who got me into politics. Without him, I wouldn't be in politics. And so it's a great honor and passion that he recognize the work we're doing here at Red Future Radio and recognize myself through this letter. I want to thank everyone who I tagged in this tweet. J.D. Vance, J.R. Majewski, MAGA Inc. War Room, Taylor from CA, can't remember his full name right now, Alan Brushewitz, Johnny Maga, Roger Stone, Steak for Breakfast, the Calvin Coolidge Project, the GOP, Liz Harrington, who actually retweeted the tweet of me with the picture of my hands, the Right Side Broadcasting people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Corey Mills, two great congressmen, Donald Jr., Eric Trump, and Kimberly Guilfoyle were all tagged in that tweet. Thank you to J.R. Majewski for pushing it through. He's the man. He helped me really get this across. The Trump desk, they printed out the picture and signed it. It's not just a signed hat, folks. It's actually a picture of myself signed by the boss himself, the 45th president and the 47th president, Donald J. Trump. But that's not all they threw in the box. It was a very elaborate unboxing process with a lot of red tissue paper. It was a beautiful package. It really was. With a shirt that says, I stand with Trump, and it has the date of the indictment on it. They sell it on their website. I stand with Trump at 3/30/2023. Beautiful shirt. Great. Can't wait to wear it. Also a can koozie or a cozy. I think it's koozie. I think I'm going to call it koozie. The can koozie, which is the Joe Biden knows me gas money with Trump 2024 on the other side, and then some Trump 2024 bumper stickers. And I'm not going to put a sticker on my car, but I appreciate the gesture from the Trump team and from those with the boss man himself. I appreciate it so much. My reaction when I opened that box was priceless. So much bubble wrap on this picture frame that was pre-framed with a nice matting. You can see the whole tweet, my name in it, with the Trump signature. And the fact that he took time out of his busy schedule. I mean, he was being indicted while this whole process was being pushed through. He was in New York City while this was going through. And that's a crazy honor to me. It really is. So I appreciate it to everyone who helped make it possible, liked the original tweet, liked this recent tweet. We were recognized, this program in that tweet was recognized by Trump, at Team Trump. If you go to at Team Trump on Twitter, TEAMTRUMP on Twitter, retweeted me. Trump War Room, let's go here. Trump War Room on Twitter, not MAGA Inc. War Room, but Trump War Room. Scroll down there a little bit, past all the recent Agenda 47 points. There's my face on there as well. Almost 100,000 views on the tweet at the time of recording. Probably by the time this episode is out, it will have 100,000. That's fantastic. I mean, it really is. A great day. Probably the best thing I own is this signed picture by Donald Trump. You can even see when you zoom in the picture, you can see the marker artifacts. And that's just so impressive to me. I'm just so happy about this. So thank you for everyone who helped push it through. Great experience, by the way. Ace Specialties. One request, don't use FedEx anymore. But other than that, appreciate the gesture, appreciate the gift there as well. And the koozie, I'm a big fan. I posted pictures of that on my Twitter as well, GOP Josh 20 on Twitter, GOP JOSH20. And if you haven't seen the picture yet, it's on my Twitter as well, pinned to the top, GOP Josh 20. And it's like it sounds great with his signature. That's the first thing I saw when I opened the box, when I unwrapped the 16 sheets of bubble wrap was great, which is just fantastic. It's so cool. I mean, it just really is. Someone who inspired a generation, inspired a movement like Donald Trump, having signed something with my face on it, saying he knows who I am now, which is kind of a surreal feeling, especially when he's the former president and the future president. He's cultivated the MAGA movement so much. He has created the MAGA movement. He is not a politician. He's a priceless political figure that will forever go in the history books as a positive, which is just fantastic, frankly speaking. So yeah, we're going to go to break here in just a second here. I want to play this clip from Kamala Harris, the actual vice president, the second in line, the vice president. You know, she was also instated just like Joe Biden here. Let's listen to this clip here from the by the way, second in charge. And we're not getting audio. All right, we'll fix that here very shortly. We have plenty of technology to make it easy, and we're getting audio now, right about now. RNC Research.
So I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
Guys, I have a question. I have a question for you out there, and you can call in and let me know. Do we exist in a moment of time?
I think it's very important, as you
I think it's very important.
have heard from so many incredible leaders. For us at every moment in time, and certainly this one.
Certainly this one.
To
This moment of time.
to
see the moment. That's
in
moment.
time
That's
in
twice.
which we exist
Moment of time
and are
twice.
present.
We
And to
exist in
be
the
able to
present.
contextualize it, to
Contextualize
understand
it.
where we exist in the history and in the moment
In the
as
moment?
it relates not
That's
only to
3
the
times.
past but the future.
30-second clip. She says nothing except for the moment, like 4 times. That's our that's our vice president, folks. And Biden announced he's running again. We'll cover that here in the second segment of the program. The Biden-Trump rematch is not going to go the way the left thinks. I seriously think the way we're going. If we clean up and we focus on actually harvesting ballots on the Republican side, we will win 40 states. Or more. Back after this with Biden's announcement, a 3-minute posted video on his Twitter page. Back after this.
You're listening to the Conservative Crusader.
Fiverr is the world's largest marketplace for digital services, offers both buyers and sellers a digitally streamlined transactional platform. If you need to buy something, sell something, or whatever you want to do on Fiverr, just go to bit.ly/GOP Josh Fiverr today to get your gig or to put your gig on Fiverr and help support the program as well. That is bit.ly/GOP JOSH Fiverr FIVERR. Welcome back. This is the Conservative Crusader. Go to patreon.com/GOPJosh, patreon.com, or patreon.com/GOPJOSH to support the program for $3 a month or more. We really appreciate your support. People are saying I paid for the Trump picture, by the way. I did not. We don't get enough patrons for that. Now, come on. Support the program for $5 and get an awesome gig in the process by going to Patreon. Go to our Fiverr link. bit.ly/GOPJosh FIVERR, bit.ly/GOPJosh FIVERR. Thank you, Fiverr, for sponsoring the program, and use code TSMS for 10% off your order at blackoutcoffee.com, BLACKOUT coffee.com. Use code TSMS. That is TSMS for the Samuel McGuire Show. Also, coming up pretty soon, tomorrow actually, our great sports guys over the Red Future Radio Sports program. By the way, I recommend you listen to that every week. It comes out on Tuesdays. I recommend you listen to that. And they're also going live tomorrow with draft coverage of the NFL Draft over on our Facebook page. Red Future Radio is our Facebook page. And their personal YouTube channel, RFR Sports is the username there, RFRSPORTS, over there on YouTube. No Rumble streaming yet for these folks, but we'll get it very soon. That's our sports program, RFR Sports on social media, on YouTube, and Red Future Radio on Facebook to watch that stream tomorrow. I highly recommend you tune in and check that out. All right, let's play the clip here. We're gonna pause it throughout the clip. Don't expect me to play it 100% all the way through. It's 3 minutes, and usually when people manage a politician's social media page, we know it's not the politician managing it, but we know they at least try to act like the politician. We know Joe Biden doesn't get out of bed until at least 9 o'clock every day. The former White House press secretary has said this on the record. They released this video at 6 a.m. yesterday on April 25th. Let's just start by playing the clip of Joe Biden and his announcement speech. Starts with insurrection footage, so to speak, of the peaceful protest on January 6th, and now people protesting outside of the Supreme Court for abortion.
Freedom.
Now it's American flag.
Personal freedom is fundamental to who we are as Americans. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred. That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy. This shouldn't be a red or blue issue. To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this
First and
country...
foremost, before we continue on, I'll back it up so you can hear exactly what he says. Don't want to clip the president out of context. This isn't CNN against Trump. But they actually... It's a weird setup here. It's all vertical video for like a TikTok or a YouTube short. Not really a 3-minute long video going to the press. This is a weird setup for this video.
To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it.
Unless you're a Trump supporter. And there's protesters outside the Capitol.
Extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms.
They put a picture of Trump and DeSantis together, which I think is kind of interesting.
Cutting Social Security.
You
paid for your entire life. Cutting taxes for the very wealthy. Dictating what healthcare decisions women can make. Banning books. And telling people who they can love. All while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Protecting our democracy and protecting the right to vote is not actually making it harder to vote. Fun fact, Joe Biden, just letting you know that right away.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are.
Yeah, whatever.
The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too. This is not a time to be complacent. That's why I'm running for re-election. Because I know America.
I know America. No, you don't. You haven't been in real America since you were like 22 years old when you became a senator. Come on, man.
I know
or 30 years old,
good and
however
decent
old you had to be,
people.
you know. He was there
I know
day
we're still
one.
a country that believes in honesty and respect and treating each other with dignity. That we're a nation where we give hate no safe harbor. We believe that everyone is equal, that everyone should be given a fair shot
No,
to
you don't.
succeed in this country.
Not if you're white or straight or Christian or male. If you're white, straight, Christian, or male, affirmative action says you shouldn't have the actual ability to be equal. If you're a white, straight, Christian male, you're the oppressor of society and you should be treated as an oppressor. Right? These people aren't actually supporting equality. They're supporting the rule of the minority and the rule of the people who actually don't fit into what's been seen as privileged over time. Right? I've seen no more privilege than anyone else in this country, but because I'm white, straight, Christian, and male, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole for the Biden administration. Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Every generation of Americans has faced a moment when they have to defend democracy. Stand up for our personal freedom. Stand up for the right to vote and our civil rights. And this is our moment.
Terrible video. It's just... I have not seen a white man in this video this far, besides Joe Biden himself. Oh, there was a little one that was taking a picture with Biden.
So if you're with me, go to joebiden.com and sign.
And now he's advertising his website, and we're going to stop that there. So that was the incumbent resident-in-chief, commander-in-chief, who was playing that clip out there in the new commercial for him, in the actual advertisement for him. And I don't know, not doing it for me. Not a lot of energy, low energy Brandon. I believe, the Trump campaign released a response to this. I believe, here's, I'm not going to play the entire thing, it's 5 minutes long, but here's part of Trump's response to the clip we just watched.
You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our nation in just a few short years, not even close. Thanks to Joe Biden's socialist spending calamity, American families are being decimated by the worst inflation in half a century. Banks are failing, our currency is crashing, and the dollar will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be our greatest defeat in over 200 years. Real wages have been falling 24 months in a row. In other words, under Biden, workers have gotten a pay cut each and every month for 2 straight years. We have surrendered our energy independence, just like we surrendered in Afghanistan, which we had just a short time ago, and the price of gasoline just hit a 5-month high, and it's going much higher than that. Under my leadership, we had the most secure border in U.S. history by far. Never had a border like this. Under Biden, the southern border has been abolished, and millions of illegal aliens have been released into our communities. What's happening now is beyond belief. They're coming in from mental institutions and prisons. They're all being emptied. They're being dumped into the United States of America.
And he's right completely, but we do have to move on here. And I linked in the show notes below the rest of his video on Twitter if you'd like to watch that from Team Trump on Twitter over there. I want to get really quickly here because we are running out of time. And this program, I spent too much time talking about myself today, and I apologize. A Montana transgender legislator lawmaker barred from House floor after hate-filled testimony. The name is Zooey Zephyr. It's a man that thinks it's a woman. While delivering comments on the bill last week, Democrat State Representative Zooey Zephyr sent a strong message to those who voted for the bill banning transgender medical care for minors. The only thing I will say is if you vote yes on this bill and yes on these amendments, I hope the next time there's an invocation when you bow your heads in prayer, you see the blood on your hands. Any representative that I don't feel can do that will not be recognized, according to Rutgers, the Speaker of the House of Montana. So he, the state representative in Montana that is a man, that thinks it's a woman that is a man, has been censured. Will not be allowed to speak because of what happened in that event there. I don't think we have the clip here, do we? We do have the clip. Let's play the clip here really quick from Fox News. And we don't have audio. Do we have audio? There we go. Let's restart.
And the only thing I will say is if you vote yes on this bill and yes on these amendments, I hope the next time there's an invocation, when you bow your heads in prayer, you see the blood on your hands.
And that's it. The longer clip I heard was actually extended, and you could hear the booing afterwards. 7 people were arrested at the Montana House of Representatives during the protest about this bill. When will Democrats learn, men and women, this is a man, that when you incite violence and you promote unruly protests at the State House during a session, you will be censured or removed from office? We saw it in Tennessee. Obviously, they're back and stated. We see it here in Montana. We have to realize that you cannot get out of decorum in the State House, and promoting that means you're going to get censured or taken out of office. And that's basic knowledge. You have to be able to have decorum at a time. Back after this. This is the Red Future Radio Network.
You're listening to the Conservative Crusader.
Hey everyone, it's GOP Josh. We can only keep the Conservative Crusader podcast or program that you're listening to right now on the air with your support. We have recently launched a Patreon program where you can support us here at Red Future Radio for as little as $3 a month. You can find that at patreon.com/GOPJosh. You can also support the program at anchor.fm/The Conservative Crusader for as much or as little as you'd like to give. This program will remain free, and financial support is not required or expected, but anything to keep us on the air helps. Thank you, folks. And now, back to the Conservative Crusader. Welcome back. This is the Conservative Crusader. GOPJosh.com is my website. GOPJosh.com here on the Red Future Radio Network. And our website is redfutureradio.com. So, yeah, very easy. Very accessible here on the program. Glad to be with you all today. Make sure you follow me on Truth Social, GOP Josh, at GOPJOSH, over on Truth Social. Peter Thiel is a megadonor for the GOP, a tech billionaire. We know he was behind getting J.D. Vance to run in Ohio, which I'm glad in the long run he did. I didn't like him in the primaries. I've admitted I didn't like him in the primaries, but I'm glad he did. He ran, he won, and I'm glad he did. He won for the better. J.D. Vance is a great senator. He's proving himself greatly in the U.S. Senate, and I'm glad he's in that position. But Peter Thiel kind of backed out of his deal. Peter Thiel, however you pronounce his name, you know who I'm talking about. He said that he would fund Blake Masters and J.D. Vance if they could win their primaries. Pretty much. Both are former associates of Thiel, and Blake Masters was the kind of big guy behind it all. He was the CEO or COO, one of the two, of the Thiel organization. Now, when the money came due, when the bills came due, Mitch McConnell said, hey, Peter Thiel will appreciate some money to pay for Blake Masters because you got him in this position, right? And people are saying it would have been easier with someone like, who else was running? Mark Fincham, I think it was his name. He wouldn't have won either. But I do believe that Peter Thiel had a responsibility to pay for some of his candidates. I mean, they were his guys. He put them in that position to run. Nonetheless, I digress. J.D. Vance didn't campaign in Ohio. That's a big issue, not campaigning. We didn't campaign. We had to put money in Ohio. We didn't have to. Polls were saying it was tighter than it was. Much tighter than it was. So we put money in Ohio to be safe. I was saying on Twitter on this program we should not put a dime in Ohio, put that money in Arizona to save Blake Masters. But people didn't listen to GOP Josh. Look who was right. Anyways. So we didn't have money to fund Blake Masters or Adam Laxalt or Herschel Walker, and obviously the money spent in Ohio would not have been able to split across all of them and win them all their seats. But Blake Masters was a big Thiel guy. And when the deal came due with McConnell and Peter Thiel, it didn't work out. And Peter Thiel and whoever was in charge of spending Thiel's money in politics just didn't put the money behind Blake Masters. We see where that went, right? Well, Thiel's fed up with the Republican Party. Completely. He's not planning to donate to any political candidates in 2024. Thiel is unhappy with the Republican Party's focus on hot-button U.S. cultural issues, said one of the sources, two originally introduced. A business associate citing abortion and restrictions on which bathroom transgender students can use in schools as two examples. Peter Thiel, God love him, and he's done plenty of things helping Trump get across the finish line in 2016. He is a homosexual man. He has money in the Republican Party. And I'm not saying he owes the Republican Party a dime. But that's those are the closest things to a Republican billionaire we have is Peter Thiel. Right? Got to keep that in mind. Thiel came across this conclusion by late 2022. He believes Republicans are making a mistake focusing on cultural flashpoints and should be more concerned with spurring U.S. innovation, a major issue for him, and competing with China. Thiel's plan for the Republican primary and general election had not been previously reported. Online news site Puck previously reported Thiel was one of the most likely to either support Trump or sit out of the primary. Thiel declined a Rutgers request for an interview. When Thiel spoke at the 2016 Republican National Convention, he had more hope that the party would concentrate on economic issues. He said, "I'm proud to be gay on stage, but most of all, I am proud to be an American. I don't pretend to agree with every plank in our party's platform, but fake culture wars only distract us from our economic decline, and nobody in this race is being honest about it except Donald Trump." So he's the kind of pro-economic policy guy. That's his focus, is economic policy, and that's fine. But we got to realize as a party that what's going to win us the suburban moms, going to win us the urban and suburban vote is going to be culture issues. Who's most likely to vote based on whether or not their kid feels safe in a bathroom? A suburban mother. Who's going to vote based on abortion? A suburban or a rural mother. A voter base that has been traditionally turned away from the GOP is voting conservative because of the culture issues. We're going to have the businessman vote on lock, right? Peter Thiel, he may not donate money, but he will vote Republican. We're going to have the big people on board because Biden wants to tax them 70%. Just not taxing them 70% is enough to get most billionaires on board, right? And we're not the party of billionaires. We're the party of people. We're the party of American people. And I'm sorry if Peter Thiel doesn't like that we focus on culture issues. We are in the midst of a culture war. A war in our culture to decide who's going to come out on top and who's going to have absolute power over our children and our future. Is it going to be the left that wants to castrate your kids? Or is it the basic people that want to send it back to the parents? So we're not extreme. We're not out there saying, well, yeah, we need to ban all abortion in every state and every second from the moment of conception. No one's saying that. I think 6 weeks is a great compromise. 1 in 4 Americans think abortion after the first 6 weeks is crazy. After the second trimester, you're at like 80%, 90%. And the left wants to go to 22 weeks. Why can't we point that out? Why can't we put that out in the public and say, look at what the left wants to do? In Ohio, they want to go all the way to 9 months. The day before a baby is due, you can have an abortion. Not to mention the constitutional amendment they're putting on the ballot in November would also allow gender transition surgery without parental consent in the state of Ohio at any age. We have to fight back against this. We can't let them continue pushing forward. And I'm sorry if Peter Thiel doesn't like that. And I'm sorry if the billionaires don't like that. But the regular people in America, the people who make this country work and move and grow, is who I'm worried about. Not Peter Thiel. He's done a great job getting J.D. Vance for the Senate. He's doing a great job getting Blake Masters for the Senate, hopefully again. But we have to look at this in a bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we need to focus on these issues. And we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can support good economic policy and also talk about culture wars at the same time. It's not going to be we're not going to win over 100% of voters because we talk about culture war issues. But we're going to win the culture war. We're going to save the children. And maybe because Peter Thiel will never have kids, that might be why he's so upset about this. That's more important. No, I guess he has 2 toddlers with a gay man. That totally works biologically. I'm just fed up. And I'm not saying Peter Thiel's a bad guy. I think he's probably a fantastic guy personally. But I'm not willing to back down on the issues for one guy with some money. Especially when he didn't uphold his promise and his commitment in 2022. Really quick here as well. Bernie Sanders is not going to run for president in 2024. He endorsed Joe Biden. The last thing this country needs is a Donald Trump or some other right-wing demagogue who's going to try to undermine American democracy and take away a woman's right to choose, or not address the crisis of gun violence or racism, sexism, or homophobia, Sanders said in an interview. So I'm in to do what I can to make sure the president is reelected. How old is Bernie Sanders again? He's like 82, I think. He is crazy old himself. Good thing he's not running, okay? If the left is choosing between Bernie Sanders, who's 81, and Joe Biden, who's 80, Bernie Sanders is actually mentally competent. He may be stupid on the issues, but he's mentally competent. He knows what he's talking about, and he knows what he believes in. Biden doesn't know what he believes in, right? And I want to see here. I want to check really quick. Oh, there is a landscape version of his announcement as well, not just horizontal or vertical. So the only people challenging him at this point is Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is actually polling at like 15%. And I also want to get into really quick next segment what Steve Bannon said the other day about a unity ticket between a Republican and a Democrat. Talk about that next here on the Conservative Crusader. My name is GOP Josh. Back after this.
You're listening to the Conservative Crusader.
To make the case, you say unity ticket, Trump, Kennedy. Tell us about it.
Look, I would love Carrie Lake or maybe one of these powerful women to be his vice president. However, I see a very compelling reason, although I know Bobby Kennedy's terrible on guns, he ain't great on Ukraine, but he talks about going after the administrative and deep state in a very significant way, led by the pharmaceutical industry. If we put together a unity ticket of Trump and Kennedy, it would be insurmountable. We would bring over many of the populists on the left, many of the people that don't agree, with Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon and Donald J. Trump, but that's what a unity ticket is. And I think we could get 2/3 to 70% of the American people in back of what we have to do in taking on the Chinese Communist Party, taking on the deep state, taking on big pharma, taking on big tech, taking on big media, everybody that's it shouldn't be lost on people. Bobby Kennedy comes on Tucker last week and has a throwdown interview. And next thing you know, Tucker Carlson's given the bums the best and biggest show in the history of Fox. O'Reilly wasn't bigger. Megyn Kelly wasn't bigger. Hannity, the top of his game, is not bigger. Glenn Beck was not there. They gave him the bums rush. Didn't even show him the courtesy of letting him announce this on his own due time and having a couple of shows for his audience. To take care of his goodbyes. Gave him the bums rush, and one of the last big interviews he did was with Bobby Kennedy. That's how much they fear that platform. That's how much they fear the voice of Bobby Kennedy.
So I don't think, welcome back, this is the Conservative Crusader. I don't think the reason Tucker Carlson was kicked out was because of that. I think it was because mainly he has access to the January 6th footage, as well as some things personally with Rupert Murdoch. We'll get into that Friday. But when you look at this here, Bobby Kennedy is not conservative in any aspect, right? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's good on vaccines. He's to the left of John Kerry when it comes to climate change. He is a Democrat minus vaccines. Do I think, inherently speaking, that a kind of unity ticket between popular people in both party, Trump and RFK Jr. would be bad? No, I don't think inherently. But our party would never stand for it, ever. That'd never get passed. Ever. Right? It would never get through the RNC. It'd probably be like a DeSantis, sorry, Freudian slip, Nikki Haley ticket that would run on the Republican side. That would have to be third party and it'd get crushed with like 20% of people. Biden cruises to re-election. Trump goes out terribly. The best person for vice president is Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds, a congressman from down in Florida. He endorsed Jeremy Majewski, by the way, just FYI for Congress. Can't wait to see him in the Congress. Jeremy Majewski, hoping to get him on the program here pretty soon. I've asked enough favors of him lately. No, I'm just kidding. But it'd be great to have him on again here later in the program. Maybe sometime soon. We might see. Tucker's replacement was Brian Kilmeade, which is just stupid, okay? Brian Kilmeade is lame. He's boring. And also, let me see if I can find the way he addressed the Tucker Carlson crisis in the way. And also, Tucker found out 10 minutes before it happened. But it was an agreed to sort of thing, right? It was agreed to. Here it is. Right here on Fox News.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fox News Tonight. I am Brian Kilmeade. As you probably have heard, Fox News and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways.
Agreed. He found out 10 minutes before he was preparing for the show.
I wish Tucker the best. I'm great friends with Tucker and always will be. But right now, it's time for Fox News Tonight. So
that's disgusting. I'm sorry. It was his primetime slot for how long now? Let me see how the CNN This Morning gals addressed the crisis with is a minute-long clip here. We have it here. We have audio.
It is Tuesday, April 25th. Welcome to CNN This Morning. We're so glad you're with us, and we do begin, though, with news about this show. As you may have heard yesterday, CNN parted ways with anchor Don Lemon. In a statement, CNN CEO Chris Licht thanked Don for his contributions over the past 17 years, writing in part, "Don will forever be a part of the CNN family. We wish him well, and we'll be cheering him on in his future endeavors."
Absolutely. Of course, Don was a big part of this show over the last 6 months. He was one of the first anchors on CNN to have me on his show. That's something I'll obviously never forget. I agree with Chris. We wish him the best.
Yeah, we certainly do. Don was one of my first friends here at CNN. I'm so thankful to have worked alongside him and for his support for nearly 15 years here, and I wish him all good things ahead. Caitlin and I are really proud of this show. We are so proud of the dedicated team that works around the clock to bring you the news every morning, and our priority is you, the viewer. Yeah. We're grateful you welcome us into your home each morning.
Absolutely. And of course, this morning we want to keep it with the focus on the news and where that belongs. So let's get to it. CNN This Morning starts right now.
That's respectful. Sure, a lot more respectful than what they did to Tucker. But it paid off in the end for Tucker. He looks happy, by the way. Just search Tucker Carlson on Twitter and you'll see pictures of him in Florida. He looks very happy, very relaxed. Brian Kilmeade lost, let's see here. Does it tell me in here? Fox News Tonight with Kilmeade was lower than the 5 and lower than Rachel Maddow. Listen to that. Lower than the 5, lower than Rachel Maddow. Okay? That is insane. That is unheard of for cable news. Let's look here really quick. What is the it's 25:54 on Monday. We don't want to see that. I'm looking here to see what we can find before they fired him. Let's look at Friday, so to speak. That's Saturday. Let's keep going here. Sorry about this. I didn't think I'd be getting to this today. The 5 was 1,000 viewers more than Tucker in the 25 to 54 age demographic. And overall, the 5 had 39,000 more viewers overall. Rachel Maddow isn't on Friday. Okay, bad example, but you know what I'm getting at here. There's no one between Tucker and the Five. The Thursday, when she was back on, whatever her name is, Rachel Maddow, Tucker's number 1. Very commonly, he was the number 1 show. He's dropped to number 3 now. That's insane. Tucker's final episode reeled in 2.65 million views, outpacing CNN's Anderson Cooper, all with Chris Hayes on MSNBC. In 2022, Tucker Carlson Tonight ranked second place in total cable news viewership, only behind The Five. Only behind The Five. And The Five is a great program, by the way. The second highest ratings after Sean Hannity's 9 p.m. show from 2017 to 2020. And 4 million views in 2020. The Tucker Carlson show Tonight received one of the highest ratings in the history of cable news. And they canned him to replace him with Brian Kilmeade or whoever else is going to fill in on Fox News Tonight. So corporate, by the way. It's such a bad name. Fox News Tonight. I'm Brian Kilmeade. Brian Kilmeade's boring. I'm sorry. He's kind of boring, okay? He reads the teleprompter so poorly, but I can't critique him. I can't say a word. But Tucker's doing great. I'm glad for him. I hope he's back soon from his leave. I think he's enjoying his vacation, so to speak. But I hope he's back soon. Very soon. Cable news is missing his voice, and the MAGA movement is missing his voice as well. He's kind of tied into a contract, by the way, until like February 2024 or February 2025, where unless they don't let him buy it out or someone buy it out, he's silenced for forever. That's a concern as well with that contract. So we'll have to see where that goes as well. Hope he has the money to fight Fox News' legal department after the whole, what was it? The whole Dominion lawsuit. I think he's got a good chance to take down that legal department, but we will see. Back Friday with a brand new episode. Remember the sports guys on our Facebook page and on their YouTube channel tomorrow with a live stream of the NFL draft. Back on Friday. My name is GOP Josh. This is the Conservative Crusader. Thanks again, Trump, and stay tuned.
You're listening to the Conservative Crusader.